From Marv Slomsky Memorial Field, it's high school football. Today's game, the Red Raiders of Paulsboro and the Bulldogs of Glassboro High School. Hi, everybody. Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock at Glassboro for this traditional Thanksgiving Day game. Everybody at Channel 5, hope you've had a good Thanksgiving so far, and we know you're going to enjoy today's game. The 58th meeting in this traditional rivalry. These two teams first met in 1908. Paulsboro won that one 5-0. There's been some great games down through the years, and we think it'll be just as good a one today. Bob, two teams that really get excited about this confrontation.
Mike, this has been an interesting series. Upsets prevailing throughout the series. Frequently a team will come in with an undefeated record and the underdog will knock them off. It's been that way down through the years. Paulsboro leading the series with 32 wins to 21 for Glassboro. Of course, the interesting thing is that this was supposed to be the final game in the series. It is not. And that's because on December 6th, the same two teams meet for the Group 1 championship. So some people think that this game is kind of anticlimactic to what's going to happen on December the 6th. But two very fine football teams. Glassboro with one of the best offenses in South Jersey, Jack Sampson, great all-around player. Paulsboro rebuilt this year from last year's Group 1 championship team, but the defense with 5 shutouts has done a tremendous job. Two good teams, very interesting matchup. We see it as a toss-up.
All right, round one of a 2-round contest, but to think this is a preliminary would be all wrong. They'll really battle each other today. Sit back now. We'll be back after this short message with all the action. Mike Lindner now back with Bob Shryock at Slomsky Field, getting ready for this Thanksgiving Day game. Bob, and not unusual at all, one of the bigger crowds of the season. Not like the old days, perhaps, but still a lot of the old grads come back for the traditional confrontation on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, you see a lot of back patting today, a lot of people who haven't seen each other for a while. The captains of the two fine football teams, Jack Sampson of Glassboro, number 34, Dave Young, the Glassboro quarterback, Adolphus Scott, number 93, and number 75, Mark Hampton of Paulsboro out there, and the official, the referee with the white hat, Tom Bowe.
And Tom Bowe with some roots in the Glassboro community.
Of course, the son of the former mayor of Glassboro, for whom the street right outside the stadium, Bowe Boulevard, is named.
Some outstanding games over the years in the Glassboro-Paulsboro meetings. The big ones, I guess, Bob, in 1974 and 1975. Those years, of course, the golden years of Glassboro football. Paulsboro coming in 74. As you recall, as we see that Glassboro has won the toss and elected to receive. They'll be on the right side of your screen. Paulsboro kicked from the left. But in that 74 year, Paulsboro only 4-4 coming into that game, and Glassboro riding the crest of the 8-0 season, and everybody expecting Glassboro to win that day, and it just wasn't to be.
Paulsboro winning that one 14-12, as we mentioned at the top of the show. Upsets prevailing down through the years. There have been some interesting scores. Mike, you mentioned that 5-0 game that launched the series in 1908. There was a 13-year drought before they played again, and Glassboro got some revenge in 1921, winning 99-6. Some really interesting scores down through the years. John Avini
Of course,
Glassboro head coach.
And a man that played in this football game during his career as a player at Glassboro High School. So this has added meaning to him, and as long as John's here as coach, administrator in the high school, he'll have no trouble making it to the annual Thanksgiving Day game. On the other side of the field now, the coaching staff of Paulsboro High School, and in the gray pants, right side of the screen, head coach Tom Brown. His assistants, Joey Hershaff and Bill Esterlin, who work so hard on the sidelines. Getting ready now for the kickoff. And Jack Sampson will stand deep, number 34, and he'd love to start this contest today the way he started off last Saturday's Group 1 semifinal game against Riverside. You couldn't start better than that.
Of course, the 88-yarder by Sampson launching that 26-7 win over Riverside. Paulsboro got here by beating Point Pleasant Beach 20-0.
All right, Bob Dobzhansky, number 41, tees the ball up, ready to go with the kickoff. Cool morning here at Glassboro High School. No sun showing at the present time. Dobzhansky has it up high. It'll be taken on the far side of the field by Chris Harris. Harris wants to come across, but he's going to be grabbed up by number 66 in the backfield. John Paulson makes the tackle. The Bulldogs will start today's offense from their own 25-yard line.
John Paulson, the younger brother of Jim Paulson, was the All-South Jersey quarterback on this Paulsboro team a year ago. The Paulsboro coaching staff very pleased with the progress of Paulson. He's only a junior, one of the many fine underclassmen on this Red Raider team.
All right, the starting backfield, as it's been most of the season for Glassboro. Dave Young, number 12, at quarterback. Reese Peterson, the sophomore, number 45, fullback. Jack Sampson is the running back, but Peterson gets the first call and goes across right guard following Glenn Williams' block and gets a yard or two. We'll credit him with 2. We'll call it 2nd and 8.
Paulsboro defense has really been hot lately. 5 shutouts on the season, including the last 3 in a row. 24-0 over Haddonfield, 35-0 over Haddon Heights, and the 20-0 victory over Point Pleasant Beach in the Group 1 first rounder.
Dave Young now again sets them up in the slot formation. Chris Harris is in the slot to the near side. Young wants to throw, gets pressure from the backside, looking upfield for Walt Peterson, and he's not going to get to the ball, and covered well downfield by number 24, Mike Arlington.
John Gentile looked like he had a clean shot at Young that time, and Jack Sampson put a fine block on Gentile at the last precise moment, or Young could have been sacked.
On the offensive line for Glassboro, we'll have Walt Peterson at the tight end, Buddy Frank and Andy Stewart at the tackles, Glenn Williams and Joe DeSimone at guard, and Bill Chiaffi, the starting center. This time they'll move Brian Barrett, the split end, out to the near side around 15 yards. Harris in the slot there. They're going to go to Barrett on the sideline, and Brian has it. He's driven out of bounds, makes the reception, and has enough for the first down of the afternoon, or the morning. Barrett, who alternates carrying in plays with Kevin Walker. Barrett's been an outstanding receiver for Glassboro all year.
That's his 12th reception of the season, and it was a good catch. He knew he had to plant his feet. The ball was well thrown to Barrett with a great catch. Another one of the fine underclassmen we've seen. He's a junior.
Young looks over the 5-man front for Paulsboro. They're in a 5-4 setup. Sampson with the call. Sampson slides down as he tries to get behind Glenn Williams' block over on the right side. Nothing doing. And John Petrus, getting the start in the defensive secondary today, makes the stop. There'll be a loss on the play. It'll be 2nd down now, and call it 14 yards to go for the first down.
Petrus has had a fine season on defense, and of course we anticipate seeing him on offense today because Bob Miller, the starting Paulsboro quarterback, with a shoulder injury against Point Pleasant Beach, and he will not play today.
Now Harris will come in motion. They're double fake by Young. He likes that movement. He has his man Reese Peterson in the flat with the reception. He'll come up short of the first down, but he'll be out to the 45 and put Glassboro in good shape as they approach midfield with 10-12 left to play in the first quarter.
Like the way this sophomore Reese Peterson puts his head down and just bulls ahead. He's a very aggressive young football player. So Young getting some time to throw again. That's, of course, the reason he was so proficient against Riverside. Riverside with a defensive secondary that had pilfered 17 passes on this season, but Young riddled them, and that was largely because of the tremendous blocking that he had all day long.
Ready to go again. Third down now, and it's just about a yard to go for the first down. Glassboro would like to keep the drive going. Sampson will take it on the quick hitter, going across left guard. Andy Stewart opens a big hole along with Joe DeCimini, and Sampson has the first down, and he's into the Paulsboro side of the field for the first time this morning. 1st and 10 Glassboro at the Paulsboro 45-yard line.
Jack Sampson creeping up on a milestone. He entered this game with 1,981 career rushing yards, needing only 19 yards to reach the 2,000 plateau, which very few high school runners achieve, and he may make it before the end of the first period.
This time they set up in a wing T formation with the wing Harris set to the far side. Brian Barrett split to the near side. Again, Young double fakes. Looks long. Once Brian Barrett. Barrett's going to make the reception at the Paulsboro 20-yard line. He'll go out of bounds there as he's knocked out by Zach Worthy, but Barrett again making an excellent catch. Runs a good pattern and finds himself open, and great concentration shown by number 41, Brian Barrett.
Only a 135-pounder. Just keeps getting better every week. First he picked on Anderson for his first reception. This time Worthy couldn't handle him, and Young's pass is on target again. Glassboro with a great drive on the opening after the opening kickoff.
All right, it's up to Tortella, Mikowski, Dubzanski, Gentile, and in the front. They're not going to stop Sampson, though he gets another couple of yards. He goes across the right side, and Tortella and Mikowski over there make the stop. Coming up from the secondary to help out Petrus again, number 7. It'll be second down now, and about 7 to go for the first down for Glassboro. And the ball is at the 17. Adolphus Scott calls defensive signals for Paulsboro. In the middle is the linebacker. They'll go back, and a big hole opens up for Sampson just on a straight-ahead dive, and he finally gets down close to the 6-yard line, and it'll be another Glassboro first down, and they had no trouble opening up a hole that time.
Big hole for Sampson. Mike, he just needs 2 more yards now to hit 2,000 on his rushing career at Glassboro. An unbelievable plateau for a high school runner to achieve. And this has been a very impressive drive for Glassboro.
Well, they've run right at Hampton, who's back in after moving somewhat to the outside. Now he's playing head-on to Andy Stewart. Let's see if they go in that direction. They run into that hole again with Chris Harris this time from the wingback position. Adolphus Scott comes across and gets the initial hit along with Willie Anderson from the secondary. And they'll get a couple of yards down inside the 5 now. Mark it at the 4.5-yard line. Second down and goal to go.
Glassboro unscored upon in the last 12 quarters. They gave up 21 points to Haddon Township in the 21-6 loss, but on the season, Paulsboro has given up a total of only 7 touchdowns in 9 football games, so they're a very proven defensive football team.
Sampson, Reese Peterson in the backfield. Now Chris Harris is waved out further. He moves out 15 yards. They're going to fake and throw, looking for Barrett on the look-in pass, and he's covered well by Zach Worthy. Pass will fall incomplete, and there's a penalty flag on the field. Looks like a motion call against Glassboro, and that'll back him up 5 yards.
And that was a good call, but excellent defense by Zach Worthy, who has been seeing two-way duty for the Red Raiders. Covered Barrett very well.
Tom Bowe will march off the 5 yards. This is going to move the ball back now to the 9-yard line. So it'll be second and goal. 9 yards to go for the touchdown. They can't get a first down in this situation. Now an official timeout as they adjust shoulder pads on a Paulsboro player. And Bob, you have to wonder sometimes what kind of feeling these players have coming in, knowing they're going to meet again in around 10 days. But right now, I imagine that's not even in their mind as Glassboro comes up threatening the score here. Second down and goal, 9 yards to go. They're going to go power to the right side. Sampson will be in the slot over there, but they try the draw with Reese Peterson, a play they had success with in the playoff game against Riverside. But Paulsboro reads that one well, and the middle of the line seals it off, and Glassboro moves backwards again, this time now out close to the 15-yard line. Third down and a long way to go.
Mark Hampton with the initial hit on that play. Hampton absolutely tore Point Pleasant Beach backs apart, Mike. He had 7 quarterback sacks in that game, was all over the football field.
Now they move their line in tighter, the 5 defensive linemen. Young wants to throw, looks across to Brian Barrett. Barrett has it, and he's into the end zone. And Glassboro draws first blood on Turkey Day. It's 6-0. Glassboro on top. 7 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in the first quarter.
Oh, a great throw by Young and a tremendous catch by Barrett, who had 3 receptions on that drive, and of course the touchdown as Glassboro goes ahead 6-0, and the Bulldogs now will try to make it 7-0 with Beebe, their kicker. Mike, that was a very impressive drive, I tell you, for going up against this outstanding Paulsboro defense.
Brian Barrett now becomes the center. He'll snap the ball to Dave Young. Young has it down. Beebe has it up, and plenty of distance, and true as could be. It's Glassboro 7, Paulsboro nothing. All right, we'll take a look at the touchdown play. We can see Young, they're crossing all over the place, and Barrett just takes that ball out of midair, Bob, and dives in for the touchdown. Got to be a very happy young man right there. And very excited Bulldogs right now on top 7-0.
And absorbed a pretty good hit by Petrus on that play too, but that was 5 first downs on the drive. The Bulldogs taking the opening kickoff, driving all the way down the field. Paulsboro relinquishing its first touchdown in 4 football games, and we've talked all season long about how impressive this Glassboro offense has been, and another indication there of the versatility of it. John Avini, the head coach, just going out of the picture.
Steve Tucker, one of the assistants, talking to Andy Stewart and Buddy Frank, get them ready for their next series. Beebe now to kick off deep. Number 9 for Paulsboro, Willie Anderson, and number 40, Royce Hampton. Now we'll see if Paulsboro is able to match that opening offensive drive of Glassboro. Anderson will have it at the 15-yard line, looking for the left sideline. Gets a good run back out. He's out near the 35-yard line, and he might have crossed it from there.
Willie Anderson, a sophomore who has been tearing up the Colonial Conference JV League this season, had 4 touchdowns in 1 game. A threat to score every time he touches the ball. He's going to be an important part of this team a year from now. We're going to see John Petrus, the starting quarterback for Paulsboro. As we mentioned, Bob Miller, who's had a fine season for the Raiders, out with a shoulder injury, may be back for the Group 1 championship game.
All right, Petrus wearing number 7. He's going to keep the ball himself on a quick hitter over the right side. He'll be wrapped up by Groff and DeSimone. He'll get maybe 2 yards on it. It'll be 2nd and 8. But starting in that backfield, Brian Dick, number 20, and Zach Worthy, number 18, getting the call today as the starter. They'll be the running backs. Sean Hartman now is the split end. He comes to the near side. And Mike Arlington in the slot. They throw a block for Brian Dick, but he doesn't get away from Mark Antolini. But that's not unusual because there have not been many players all season long have been able to get away from Antolini.
Antolini's tackling statistics awesome this season. That's a 71st tackle he's been in on. 22 of them assists, 93 total tackles, and that's 38 more than anybody else on this football team. Very active linebacker, only a junior.
Number 47, Bill Campbell, now carries the play in from Tom Brown on the sideline, and Campbell will come out as the flanker to the near side. Hartman's along with him, and Petrus wants to throw. It's going to be a screen out to Brian Dick. He makes the reception, but he's quickly met on the far side by Joe DeSimone. Glassboro looks very, very strong this morning. They're ready to go. They're ready to play football. Excellent offensive drive, and now in the first couple of plays here, they come up very strong defensively, and they're going to force the first punt of the morning. Paulsboro is going to punt to either Chris Harris or Jack Sampson, who will be deep for Glassboro, standing around their own 25-yard line. Bob Dubzanski in punt formation for Paulsboro. He's going to kick it from around the 25. He gets it away. It's a low driving punt, and Sampson will have it. Sampson wants the left side. Sampson makes one move. He finally falls down before Petrus gets to him and seals it at the 37-yard line for Glassboro, but it was nearly, here we go again with Sampson getting a chance now to run back a punt.
Well, if he hadn't lost his footing, it's conceivable he could have gone all the way. He really came to play today, and tremendous move to get free, and then simply couldn't keep his balance and went down, but that could have been a long return. Glassboro appears to want to play this football game a little bit more than Glassboro wants to play more than Paulsboro at this point.
Well, it's still, of course, early. 4:50 to play in the first period. Glassboro on top by 7. Harris goes around the left side, and now we start to see some strength from John Gentile playing at right defensive end, and he fights off a couple of blocks and gets credited with the tackle.
John Paulson in on that play again, too.
Paulson plays at linebacker in the inside along with Adolphus Scott. Scott wears number 93, and wearing number 66 is Paulson. Gentile, Hampton, Dobzhansky, Mikowski, and Tortella across the front 5 for Paulsboro. Young has a slot to the other way. He'll go with a quick hitter with Chris Harris, and not much doing as Dobzhansky fights off the block and makes the tackle. He'll get maybe a yard. It'll be 3rd down now, 9 yards to go for the first.
Bob Dobzhansky, 235-pound senior for the Red Raiders. Another passing situation now for Dave Young. Talked about Dave Young's passing proficiency against Riverside, and he's been on target in the first period today with Barrett. Those 3 receptions on the scoring drive, including the touchdown.
Peterson now fullback. Sampson at halfback, but they're going to fake to Harris coming across in motion, try to throw to him in a screen. He's got it, and he's away from Gentile, Dobzhansky, and now finally Willie Anderson comes up, and 3 defenders from Paulsboro reading the screen perfectly. And they'll get a loss on that play. The ball moves back now to the Glassboro 33-yard line, where it'll be 4th down, and now Glassboro gets a chance to punt.
That play very well scouted by Paulsboro. Gentile made the play. He was over there quickly, turned it back inside, and it had nowhere to go.
Anderson and Brian Dick drop deep to receive Dave Young's punt for Glassboro. Young, the quarterback, does all the punting for Glassboro. He takes Barrett's snap a little high, but no pressure. And Young has it up in the air, have good hang time and a lift. Oh, there's a clip. Glenn Williams just knocked over by Petrus as the ball is finally down. There's going to be a penalty marked off here, and that's going to give us time to pause right now. We'll be back with more game action following these short messages. All right, bad mistake for Paulsboro on the punting situation. A clip thrown downfield and before possession change. So that's going to give a 15-yard penalty to Glassboro, and they're going to maintain possession. So it'll be a 1st and 10. They're right near midfield. The ball's marked at the Glassboro 49. Sampson looking for the hole. He finds something in the left side, and it gets down into Paulsboro territory. And he'll be at the Paulsboro 46, 1st and 10.
And that carry by Jack Sampson takes him over the 2,000-yard mark for his Glassboro High School rushing career. Tremendous career for Jack Sampson.
Let's take a look now at that punt and the clip. Or we'll see it next time, perhaps, but we'll be right on live action here. Don't want to miss any of the plays. Glassboro quickly out of the huddle.
2nd and 5.
2nd down, 5 yards to go. Now Reese Peterson. And Dobzhansky wraps him up, but Peterson fights ahead for another yard or 2, and Glassboro will have the ball now with a 3rd down and a short 3 yards to go for the 1st down. Ball at the Paulsboro 44-yard line. There it is. And there's the clip right there. Oh, no question about that. Glenn Williams just knocked backwards by Petrus, and that's why Glassboro has the ball.
An absolutely blatant hit. No question about it. Everybody saw that.
Young fakes, throws quickly to Kevin Walker. Walker has it, and he fumbles the ball, and let's see, it's going to be covered by Paulsboro, so the Raiders will finally get the ball. They'll take it over as it's covered by John Paulson, quickly reacting from the middle linebacker position.
A good play by Worthy that time, too. He really did not let Walker get up to get after the football. Paulson right there to recover, and Paulsboro gets a break now and a chance to go down and tie this football game as we count down to 1:20 left in the first period.
It'll still be Petrus at quarterback. Of course, he's going to have to go most of the way, if not all of the way, with Miller, the starter all year long, on the sidelines in civilian clothes and will not get a chance to play. Petrus wants to throw on 1st down. He's got Adolphus Scott And Scott was momentarily clear over there and had trouble, fumbled the ball a couple of times, and finally drops it. It'll simply be ruled an incomplete pass. And
you're not going to see that too often. Adolphus Scott with very good hands. He scored several touchdowns this season, including an acrobatic catch for a touchdown in the Group 1 first-round win over Point Pleasant Beach. Adolphus Scott, a fine two-way player. You're just not going to see that happen too often.
Approaching the 1-minute mark, left to play in the first period. 1:04 with Glassboro on top, 7-0. Sean Hartman now split to the near side. Mike Arlington in the slot, but they'll go the other way with Brian Dick. And Dick fumbles, but let's see if he's able to cover the ball himself. No, it's going to be Glassboro football. Chris Harris comes up with the loose ball, and the Bulldogs get it back after a couple of Paulsboro plays.
Well, a lot of mistakes in the first period, but there's some good hitting out there. Hitting, of course, is something you always expect in a Paulsboro-Glassboro football game, and both teams guilty of turnovers in the first period. 56 seconds to play.
And Young quickly has them out over the ball. They're ready to go. And it'll be Reese Peterson and Chris Harris now in the backfield, and Sampson this time will come out as a wingback to the near side. Brian Barrett on the other side. Sampson in motion. Young again with that double fake, again looking to pass. Reese Peterson unable to catch it. Covered well by Paulson out in the near flat. So it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Glassboro.
Not a particularly well thrown ball that time by Young. A little bit too low for Peterson to pick up. Could have been a nice little 5-yard pickup.
That'll stop the clock with 39 seconds left here in this period. Glassboro, by the way, they're in and out of that huddle today, Bob. Even with the plays being sent in from the sideline, there's a lot of enthusiasm on the Bulldogs for this contest. Harris turns in. He gets a yard or two. Dubzanski again credited with the initial hit. Gentile is there to help out. It'll be 3rd down now, 8 yards to go for the first down. We'll see if Glassboro can get another play off before this quarter runs down. 15-14. Coming up on the 10-second mark as Glassboro comes up to the line of scrimmage. Young with Harris as a wingback this time. Will not get it off. That'll do it. That'll run out the time, as you can see, at the end of 1 quarter of play on Thanksgiving Day, 1980. Glassboro 7, Paulsboro nothing. We'll be back with 2nd quarter action following these words. With a good crowd on hand at Marv Slomsky Memorial Field, Channel 5's Thanksgiving Day coverage of the Paulsboro-Glassboro game continues. Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock. It's a 7-0 Glassboro lead, and in that first quarter, no question about it, the Bulldogs had the better of it.
Glassboro dominating, of course, taking that opening kickoff, going all the way down to score the 9-yard touchdown pass from Young to Barrett, who had 3 receptions on the drive. And other than that, really, Glassboro has dominated the first period. Paulsboro has only run 3 plays so far in this football game.
Well, we won't expect to see that continue. These two teams come in evenly matched, on paper at least. But Young again wants to go to the air. He's got Chris Harris. Harris will make the catch. Finally driven down by Mike Arlington. But Harris is going to have a Glassboro first down. And he's going to be to the 27-yard line.
Harris, of course, with the dislocated elbow that kept him out of a couple of Glassboro football games, limping off the field a little bit. But that was a great catch. Took great concentration by Harris because he momentarily bobbled the ball, limping along the sideline. But it was a fine catch, and Young again on target. Glassboro's offense dominating the early part of the football game.
Well, Harris will run that off and try to get back in quickly. He does not want to miss action today. Now Pete Talbot comes in at the wingback position to replace Harris. First time we've seen Pete today, the junior. But Reese Peterson, following DeSimity's block on the left side, quickly gets 3 or 4 yards.
Good hard-nosed football player. I love the way he runs. He punishes people.
Well, I like the way the guards, Glenn Williams and Joe DeSimity, get quickly out of their position and lead the plays off tackle and around the ends. Excellent line play by Glassboro. We've seen it all season long, and we're seeing it so far this morning. Talbot now comes split 15 yards to the near side. Brian Barrett will be the end split to the far side as Tom Bowe calls an official timeout. Phil Choppy, the center for Glassboro, wanted the ball rolled the other way, apparently. Now let's see what the holdup is. They're going over to the Audubon sideline, and there's going to be a chin strap adjustment for number 9, Willie Anderson.
You're talking about the crowd at the top of the game, Mike. I ran into a Paulsboro man who came up from Houston just to see this football game, an old Paulsboro football fan.
Second down, 6 yards to go. Young is not going to waste time. Throw it again to Pete Talbot. And Talbot unable to hold on this time. Pass a little high and off to the outside. He's covered again by Arlington. Petrus comes over to help out, but it'll be an incomplete pass. Third down now. 6 yards to go for the first down. Interestingly now, Bob, the crowd getting bigger. People still coming in. Of course, game starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. And as you can see now, the crowd ringing the sidelines, standing all the way around the one end of the football field. Now Talbot in motion. Sampson goes the other way. There's DeSimone out in front, leading the block along with Reese Peterson. And Sampson gets a couple of yards. He'll be short of the first down, but he'll be over the 20-yard line. The ball now will be at the Paulsboro 19.
It's encouraging to see this crowd. It is lining the field, and this is something you have seen down through the years at Paulsboro, Glassboro football games on Thanksgiving Day. But crowd's missing from high school football this season, and it's really heartening to see this many people out. There's the crowd lining the outside of the perimeter of the football field. Good to see.
Fourth down now. A little more than a yard to go. Young with Peterson and Sampson to run behind him, and Sampson will get it. Sampson will fight forward, and let's wait and see if he got it as he's wrapped up by Jim Tortello, number 55, and John Paulson, number 66. Hampton's over there, also number 75, and it'll depend on where they mark it, and I think Bo will bring the chains in this time for this important measurement.
Well, that play really had no business working. If they get the first down, that was because of the punching block by Reese Peterson out there, and Jack Sampson's great second effort. He just wanted that so badly.
Dave Young will check it out for Glassboro, and they make it by around 4 inches. So first down, Glassboro. They'll continue this drive.
The big problem for Paulsboro in this football game simply has been they can't get the football. Down to 9:54 left in the half, and Glassboro's offense has been on the field practically all of the first half so far.
DeSimone and Williams and Choppy, the middle three. Stewart and Frank, the tackles. Walt Peterson at tight end, the block, but Young wants to throw one more time. Coming across the middle, Kevin Walker nearly has it. He has it for a moment or two, but he is covered excellently by Zach Worthy, and the ball is knocked free. And instead of having a first and goal at the 2, it's going to come back and be 2nd and 10 for Glassboro at the 18-yard line.
Another well-thrown ball, another Glassboro back open, but as you mentioned, Zach Worthy with a fine play, reaching around to knock that ball free, or Glassboro would be in excellent shape for another score.
This time Talbot goes into the slot to the far side, number 14. Barrett is out there split. Sampson and Peterson stay behind Young. They'll come on the cross buck to Sampson. Sampson gets running room, but nearly breaks it free, but Petrus makes a good tackle, and he'll stop Sampson, and it's a good thing because John was the only player between Sampson and the goal line.
Classic shoestring tackle that time by Petrus, and it probably did save a touchdown as Sampson with another couple of excellent moves.
But it'll be third down now, and a little longer than 5 to go for the first down. As they get close to the 10, it'll be marked at the 12-yard line. 9:11 left to play in the first half. Glassboro on top 7-0, but looking for another one down here. Young will fake. He's going to look into the corner for Walt Peterson. It will be incomplete, overthrown. Again, Arlington and Petrus back there covering him well. And Young really got hit as he got that ball off with the pressure coming from the right side.
John Gentile with another fine hit, hitting Young, but it was a clean hit. And I think we're going to see a field goal try here, Mike. Steve Beebe of Glassboro will try to put the Bulldogs ahead 10-0. Beebe has been a very accurate kicker all season long, does not have particularly good range, and he's going to be kicking about a 29-yard field goal. The ball will be set by Young from the 19-yard line with an angle.
All right, all 11 Paulsboro players up. Now a couple of backs go out, but Young has a high snap, and he's looking into the end zone for Kevin Walker. Walker's all alone, so they do call the fake, and with those 11 Paulsboro players up tight, just no chance to react, and Glassboro comes up with their second touchdown. They now lead 13-0 over Paulsboro.
Absolutely wide open. It was a great fake, and Paulsboro apparently not aware that Glassboro has done that on other occasions this season. Walker so open. Mike, I think you might have been able to catch that ball.
There's no question in my mind. Beautiful play, well executed, and there's an injured Bulldog on the field right now. I'm not sure who it is. We'll have to look around and see what numbers are missing. But this gives us a chance to take a look at this touchdown play one more time. And we'll watch the fake, and we're not sure. There's Young. Now he slides out. Walker wide open. Nobody around him at all, and he's got that one easily. Walt Peterson, number 20, is the injured Bulldog.
Peterson, a fine player. Good to see him coming off under his own power. He's okay. So 2 touchdown passes by Dave Young has given Glassboro this 13-0 lead. The first to Barrett, this one to Walker. And I think the biggest problem Young had on that play, Mike, once it began to unfold, was making sure that he simply threw it there so it could be caught. He was so wide open. I think you have a tendency to lose your concentration in a situation like that.
All right, let's see if BB kicks this one. There's movement on the line. Joe DeSimone. Joe DeSimone, left guard, tried to block down to the inside, and he went before the snap, and that'll cost Glassboro 5 yards and move it back, and perhaps we'll see another fake this time.
Glassboro faked 1 extra point against Riverside, failed to convert the 2-pointer. And we've seen them fake 1 other field goal this season, so that is something that perhaps Paulsboro should have been able to pick up in their scouting reports.
All right, this time the ball is going to be set down by Young at the 15-yard line. He has it down. BB has it up. Will it make it? No, it's going to hit the left post and fall back to the inside. So the score will remain with 8:50 left to play in the first half. Glassboro 13, Paulsboro nothing. And we see that score on our picture right now, and it gives us a chance to remind all of you watching the game today to stay tuned at halftime, because our own Jeff Eggleston of the News 5 team will be giving you all the scores of all the high school games in South Jersey today during our halftime activities.
Had a chance to interview John Avini, the Glassboro coach, and Tom Brown, the Paulsboro coach, at Touchdown Club the other night for Channel 5 News, and interesting to hear their theories about playing the back-to-back games, the psychological advantages and disadvantages of playing this Thanksgiving game and then coming back to play each other again in the Group 1 championship. And I don't know how I would feel about it, Mike. Glassboro dominating this game. If Glassboro should hold on to win significantly as they lead now 13-0, is that a good thing or a bad thing for Paulsboro coming into the next game?
Well, I think it's more of a problem for the coaches, Bob. The players, obviously, as the season winds down, would rather play a game every day than go out again onto the practice field. The real problem is preparation time for the coaches, getting the game plans assembled, and then running their players through the special plays that they have for a given game. Standing deep now, number 40 for Paulsboro, Royce Hampton, along with number 9, Willie Anderson. BB to kick. BB's got a good one this time, and it's going to go to Hampton. Hampton's got good running room up the middle. He's finally taken down by John Trifoletti, number 44. Trifoletti getting the tackle out at the Paulsboro 36-yard line.
Good run by Hampton. He's been bumped out of a starting job in the offensive backfield. He's had a pretty good season for the Raiders. He was a valuable part-time player a year ago when Paulsboro went all the way and won the Group 1 championship.
Campbell and Hartman split out to the near side. Open backfield behind Petrus. They're going to fake and go with the option, and Petrus will keep it himself, and he'll get out near a first down. He's out over the Paulsboro 45-yard line, near the 47. And he might well have the first down. They're going to wait. Yes, it'll be signaled first down for Paulsboro.
It'll be the first down of the game for the Red Raiders. Petrus getting it himself. Paulsboro down 13-0, now needs to establish some offensive momentum, get down there, get a score, and get back in this football game, because they've been thoroughly dominated in the first half.
Adolphus Scott in at the tight end, Sean Hartman the split end, Arlington the slot. They're going to give the ball to Brian Dick. Brian Dick finds the first big hole of the day for Paulsboro across left tackle. And on the quick opener, Brian Dick has another Paulsboro first down. Nothing wrong with the blocking up front that time, Bob. Excellent hole opened up on the left side for Paulsboro.
Good run by Dick, and he almost broke that when he's a little bit angry at himself that he didn't. So consecutive first downs for Paulsboro. The offense finally showing some life.
First and 10, Paulsboro at the Bulldog 39-yard line.
39-yard line in Glassboro territory now. They'll go the other way with a quick opener, Zach Worthy. So they'll just go back to basics right now, running the dives. Tried the left side last play, going the right side this time. They get again 4 yards. It'll be second down and 6.
Paulsboro getting a little angry, I believe. It's not like a Paulsboro football team to be beaten this badly in any part of a football game. They're coming back.
Bill Chaffee now sent in to try and anchor the middle of the Glassboro defensive line. There's going to be a fumble. Excellent hit by DeSimone, and Petrus will be fortunate to get on top of it himself. But quickly in from the right side, Joe DeSimone.
DeSimone, another of the unsung players along the Glassboro line. He's a two-way performer, and we've seen him several times this season do a very steady job for the Bulldogs. And Petrus did well to recover that ball. He showed some good reflex action on that one to simply recover the ball, or Glassboro would have it.
All right, Hapcroft, Andy Stewart, Bill Chaffee, Buddy Frank, and Joe DeSimone, the front five. Mark Antolini and Reese Peterson are the two interior linebackers for Glassboro. A mix-up in the backfield as Petrus wants to throw. Ball bouncing around. Let's see who covers it. It looks like Glassboro's taking it in the air. The Bulldogs are going to have another Paulsboro turnover. Buddy Frank comes up off the ground with the football. First and 10 Glassboro at their own 46-yard line.
Everything going Glassboro's way now. Buddy Frank with the recovery. He played a tremendous game against Riverside, and Glassboro dominating all phases of the game right now. Petrus had a lot of trouble holding on to that football.
All right, 6 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the half, and Paulsboro's going to have to stiffen here because another touchdown by Glassboro before the half would really be a bad thing for Paulsboro. And Young wants to get it by throwing, and that's not a surprise. He's been going at it quite a bit. Reese Peterson, the intended receiver, it'll be incomplete. And we'll take a look now at the play with the fumble in the Paulsboro backfield. Buddy Frank coming up with it. There's the mix-up.
Great rush again, DeSimone in there, and Petrus simply can't hang on to the ball. Frank with a very alert recovery. Glassboro had 13-0, and with the ball at their own 46-yard line.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Sampson wants the outside. He's going to be chased by Petrus and the Hampton make the tackle. Sampson tried to dance around Petrus, but Petrus would have none of it. He makes the tackle. There'll be a loss on the play, and it'll go back now and be third down and 12 yards to go for the first down.
Petrus defending that play very well, but I was impressed at how quickly Mark Hampton got over there. Hampton is a two-way lineman for Paulsboro. A lot of people who have watched him think that he's a top college prospect and definitely all South Jersey possibility.
Well, playing on the right side, and he pursued quickly down the other direction and helped out on that tackle. Slot formation. Talbot in the slot on the other side. Young is going to come across to Brian Barrett, unable to catch it this time. A ball bounced off a player and into the arms of Adolphus Scott. Scott has the sideline on the right side, and it's going to be a Paulsboro takeover on a Glassboro turnover.
Interesting play. That went right off Barrett's body, and for a split second, nobody realized that the ball was in play, but Adolphus Scott certainly did, and he turned it into a big play for Paulsboro.
Well, more fortunately for Paulsboro, the official knew that it went off Barrett and didn't blow it dead, as most of the spectators thought. Scott making the big turnover, and that's an important one for Paulsboro now as we approach the 5-minute mark in the first half. And Petrus now taking a look at the Glassboro defense, and Glassboro must be missing somebody because they call a timeout quickly. Yes, apparently did not have a man in the middle. It'll give us a chance to take a look at these messages, and we'll be right back with more action following this timeout. With Glassboro on top, 13-0, and a chance to go at it. Paulsboro picked up a big turnover, and we'll have a chance to look at that play.
This is a well-thrown ball by Young, and Barrett, who's had a fine early part of the football game, simply off his body, couldn't handle it, and Scott alertly picking it up and turning it into a key interception for Paulsboro.
All right, it'll give them their first down, and Petrus wants to throw. Looking for Adolphus Scott, and it's up in the air, and Brian Barrett comes from the safety, and he almost duplicates Scott's feet and gets an interception for Glassboro.
Good thing he didn't, because if that ball had bounced the right way for Glassboro too, Barrett or one of the other defenders, nothing but open field ahead of them. That was a dangerous play that could have backfired against Paulsboro.
Second down now, exactly 5 minutes left to play in the first half.
Second and 10, Paulsboro at the Bulldog 33-yard line.
This time Arlington is split to the near side. They'll come down an option, but they'll give it to Brian Dick, and he'll get a couple of yards before he's stopped by Mark Antolini.
Even about 5 on the play.
We'll give him 4 yards on it. It'll be third down now, and 6 yards to go for the first down.
Paulsboro had not had a very good season offensively until the last half of the season. They've been on a tear recently. The 20-0 win over Point Pleasant Beach, 35 against Heights and 24 against Haddonfield, but they have nothing to show so far today.
Young with a quick throw, but it'll be knocked up in the air and away by Andy Stewart. The big defensive captain for Glassboro, playing at left tackle, just reaches up high and knocks Petrus' pass away.
Stewart, one of the best we've seen, and we've seen him time and time again this season make the big plays for the Bulldogs. Now a critical fourth down situation for Paulsboro, which has been very sluggish offensively throughout the first half. On their last drive, they tacked up back-to-back first downs, but still no points on the board, and a tough 4th and 5 now for Petrus.
Sean Hartman, a split end to the far side. Arlington down at the bottom of your screen and then the near side. Open backfield behind Petrus. Now he sends 2 men in motion. One sets, of course, Worthy. Did not get set enough, and it'll be a 5-yard penalty. He'll throw the ball to Adolphus Scott. It'll be caught down at the 15-yard line, but that play will be brought back as if 2 men are moving, Bob, one of them has to set for at least a second before the snap, and that did not happen. It's going to cost the Red Raiders 5 yards.
Oh, what a time for that to happen. Tom Brown, the Paulsboro coach, livid on the sidelines. Paulsboro hasn't been able to move the ball very much. There was a first down situation, and the motion penalty is going to hurt him.
Five-yard penalty. The ball now will be moved back to the Glassboro 38-yard line. It'll again be fourth down, but this time they're going to have 15 yards to go for the first down.
And they'll use Dubzanski apparently to punt Glassboro deep.
All right, he stands on his own side of the field at the Paulsboro 49-yard line. Does get it up, and Glassboro, expecting a fake, had their defensive halfbacks up tight. The ball is touched downfield by Hampton, and then finally down by Adolphus Scott, and let's see where they mark it. The ball will be at the Glassboro 15. The Bulldogs have 3 minutes and 53 seconds to go the rest of the way and try and get that third score, and that would be a killer for Paulsboro if the Bulldogs are able to do it.
Only the next to the last meeting this season between Glassboro and Paulsboro. As we mentioned before, they're back on December 6th in a game that Channel 5 will also telecast to play for the Group 1 championship.
Young to throw. Throwing it up long, looking for Pete Talbot. And Talbot unable to get to the ball, and he had his man easily beat down there. Willie Anderson was assigned to cover him, but Talbot had him beaten all the way up the sideline, and if the ball were a little better thrown, we had that Glassboro score coming.
Great indication there of the confidence that John Avini has in his passing game. Talk about Jack Sampson and the season Chris Harris is having and Reese Peterson, but again, we talked before about Dave Young's passing ability this season. He has 9 touchdown passes now, including the 2 today, and John Avini is not afraid to throw from deep in his own territory.
Sampson, Williams, and DeSimone both leading blocking out there on the right side, and Adolphus Scott puts a shoulder into Sampson, drives him down to the ground, but he gets a good yardage out of it. He'll pick up 7 yards. It'll be third down and 3 for the Glassboro. Glassboro again quickly out of the huddle. They've been in and out of that huddle as fast as we've seen any team all season long in this ball game. Brian Barrett split end to the far side. Talbot, the wingback. He'll block for Sampson. Sampson will put his head down, try and get the first down, but he's going to come up short. He'll miss it by about a yard. So the Bulldogs will have a 4th down, yard to go, and they'll have to punt.
Good play by Jim Tortella that time, because that forces Glassboro to punt and will give Paulsboro's offense one more chance, at least before the end of the first half, to get on the scoreboard. Tortella with a fine tackle.
Glassboro looking to the sideline, make sure
Barrett
all
needs his shirt. That's the problem. The snapper, Brian Barrett, who's played a big role in this football game, needs the different jersey, of course, to go in and snap for the punter.
And what John Avini is really doing, Bob, on the sideline, I think, is letting the clock run down the full allotted time they have, and then they'll call a timeout so as to not get the 5-yard penalty. But you see a heady call on the sideline there by the outstanding coach at Glassboro, John Avini. Been around football a long time and did not miss a trick on that one.
John Avini has had a fine year. His excellent staff have put together a good program here at Glassboro High School. John, a graduate of Glassboro High, played in a lot of these Paulsboro games, says he's going to miss them very much. Of course, John went on to play at the University of Indiana and then had a professional kicking career with the Chicago Bears and the Washington Redskins, and a great guy.
And he's got to be a very happy coach right now, although he's been around football, as we pointed out, so long that he knows anything can happen, as we see the Paulsboro fans who got here early enough to get a seat on the far side. And a lot of their fellow fans standing all along the sideline, as we pointed out earlier.
I think the crowds at about a half dozen games we've seen put together would not match the one that's here today. This is an excellent crowd.
Dave Young now stands at the 10-yard line to await the snap from Barrett to get the punt off. A good snap, not much pressure. He drops the ball, does get it off, and Anderson driven over to the right side. Ball bounces high. He finally takes it at the 37 and is still on his feet over there, finally driven out of bounds. Tackle made by the special team player, Ed Kelly, number 54. They're going to have the ball on the Glassboro side of the 50. It's going to be marked at the Bulldog 45-yard line.
Good field position, plenty of time. 1:59 to go in the half. Glassboro with an excellent opportunity, or Paulsboro with an excellent opportunity to score before halftime and get back in this game. Dave Young did very well to get that punt away after fumbling the snap.
First and 10, Paulsboro at the Bulldog 45-yard line. Petrus brings him up.
They'll have Petrus to throw. Going to go. It's going to be picked. No, it's off of DeCimini and into Brian Dick's hands. And I thought Joe DeCimini had every lineman's dream there for a moment, Bob.
He had nothing but open field, and I think he was thinking about the 6 points before he thought about catching the football. Bizarre play. We've seen some funny bounces in this game. Brian Dick, number 20, recovering to get the reception and make actually he lost a yard out of it. But boy, Joe DeCimini's going to be thinking about that one as he sits at the Thanksgiving table today.
Let's take a look at that
chance to see that play again. And you could see DeCimini thinking about the touchdown right off his fingertips. Dick with a good recovery. It could very well be 19-0 right now.
Well, Bill Chiaffi got credit for the tackle, but DeCimini was back there, Bob. I'm not sure if he came back and recovered to help out on the tackle, if he just wanted to find out where that football went.
Well, he read the play perfectly, and he did almost have the lineman's dream, but turned into a bit of a nightmare for him.
And Paulsboro stops the clock with 1:32 left to play in the half. They're at the short end of the 13-0 score. And as we watch Andy Stewart take a break on the sideline, Stewart, one of the key members of the Bulldog team all year long, sitting next to Glenn Williams.
Incidentally, DeCimini has 2 interceptions on the season. That could have been his third, so he's not unusual for Joe DeCimini to pick off a pass.
Remember to stay tuned at halftime. We'll have the activities here at Glassboro, and also we'll have the scores from all the Thanksgiving Day games for you. Petrus, look for the man. It's wide open. Adolphus Scott. He cuts back to the inside. He would have been well served to get to the out-of-bounds marker. Time will stop while they move the chains, but it'll be forcing Paulsboro to use another timeout down there. Excellent catch by Scott. But maybe if he was thinking just a little more clearly, he would have stepped out of bounds over there at the 21.
And an excellent throw by Petrus. He threw that ball in the run a bit off balance. Scott wide open, and Paulsboro now down at the 21-yard line in excellent shape. Plenty of time to go in the half.
With the 1:23 on the clock remaining, Tom Brown comes back out into the huddle, and they'll give them 2 or 3 plays and hope that they can get as many as those off. They really want to get on the scoreboard if all possible. Do not want to go into the locker room down by these 13 points.
Glassboro has been tough defensively all season long. They've been a bit, but haven't broken too often. They thoroughly dominated Riverside's offense, winning 26-7. Washington Township and Gloucester Catholic were the teams that were most successful against them offensively, and interestingly, both of those teams with big backs. Mike Evangelisti had a big game in Gloucester Catholic's 27-7 win over the Bulldogs, and Tom Fiore of Washington Township in the first half particularly was effective as Washington Township in a mild upset defeated the Bulldogs 14-13. Those are the only 2 losses for Glassboro this season.
All right, Mikowski, Gentile, Paulson, Hampton to block for Petrus. Try and give him enough time. We'll have Worthy in motion now. Petrus will sprint in that direction. He's going to throw it out to Worthy. Worthy has it. He's going to get good running room, and he's going to get down close to the end zone. Let's see if he got out of bounds, if they're going to rule it dead over there at just short of the 2-yard line. But all of a sudden, Paulsboro finding their men open in the flats, backs coming out of the backfield, and Paulsboro has a 1st and goal and a chance to get into the end zone. 3 ones on the scoreboard now. 1 minute and 11 seconds left to play in the first half. And there's a timeout called on the field.
Paulsboro receiver is getting wide open. You're right, Mike.
I'm surprised to see Worthy as he goes in motion, and of course Glassboro rotating their defensive backs in that direction, but no linebacker out there to pick him up, and he finds himself very clear and gets good yardage out of it. I didn't really expect Worthy to get down that close. Paulsboro has been sputtering the whole first half. All of a sudden find themselves in a chance to get this and make it a very, very tight football game. Thanksgiving Day football, a great tradition all over the United States, of course, and very, very big in South Jersey, and that's attested by this outstanding crowd that's shown up this morning for this football game, and it's turned into a very, very pretty morning. A lot of people worried about the possibility of rain or snow before this ball game, but no question about this one. We'll get this game in without any problems with the weather.
It's turned out to be a pretty nice day, really. A lot of people kind of upset, Mike, to see this series end. Of course, there is the other game after this one, but this is the final Thanksgiving game. This has been a long, traditional series, and people from both towns do not want to see their rivalry end here today.
All right, Petrus has them on the 2-yard line. He'll go with Worthy. He fumbles the ball, but it looks like he's going to cover it himself as he gets close to the goal line. They'll have to quickly come up. Steve Beebe, who's in there on the goal line defense, covers Worthy, but unable to get the football, and Paulsboro gets another chance. Clock now running with 50 seconds on. Beebe out, Stewart in. Stewart has to quickly get down at number 77. They'll give it to Brian Dick, and Dick will power his way into the end zone, and we've got a good football game now. 43 seconds left to go in the first half, and it's 13-6.
That was an impressive series by Paulsboro. Petrus on target a couple of times, and Dick running the ball in for the touchdown with just 43 seconds to go. Paulsboro, which has not played a particularly solid all-around first half, right back in this game, 13-6, and we're going to see a typical Glassboro-Paulsboro Thanksgiving barn burner.
Jim Gentile to try and punt or kick the extra point. Hey, he's got a good foot into that one. There's no question at all about it. It'll be good, and we've got a 13-7 ball game.
Well, you look back now as DeSimoni's inability to pick off that pass is a very big play in this football game.
We'll take a look at the touchdown play now. It'll be Brian Dick over the left side, and he puts his head down and really powers ahead, Bob. He knew he didn't have much to go, and he was going to get it any way possible. Brian Dick picks up the touchdown for Paulsboro.
John Paulson and Ken Packer with some good blocking in front of Dick on that 1-yard carry. And now we'll watch to see if Glassboro is conservative, tries to run out the first half clock, or whether they try to counter that touchdown behind the arm of Dave Young.
Bob Dutzansky, number 41, will kick off for Paulsboro. Jack Sampson will stand by himself at the Glassboro 10-yard line. Pete Lester and Rick McCant will be up 5 yards from him.
We'll see if they kick away from Jack Sampson as they did on the opening kickoff.
Dobzhansky has it up, and Lester will take it at the 16. He'll try to take it. He fumbles it and covers it himself. So Paulsboro almost coming up with a Glassboro turnover there, and they would have had a chance with 39 seconds to go. And Petrus showing that he can throw the ball to get another touchdown and not this game or possibly go ahead by a point at halftime.
I'll tell you what was impressive that time. The guy down there on that ball was Mark Hampton. Mark Hampton, the big two-way tackle who plays on the specialty teams too, was the first man down near that football when it was fumbled.
Young, Sampson, Peterson, Talbot, the backs for Glassboro. Walt Peterson, tight end, Brian Barrett, split end. But they're going to go with Reese Peterson across right guard, and he is out for maybe 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Clock will continue to run, and that might have been the last play we'll see in this half as we're at the 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3. The clock continues to run. Glassboro's not going to get a playoff. They won't even try it. That's going to do it. It'll end the first half of play. And when you look at the scoreboard, all of a sudden we've got an exciting Thanksgiving Day football game. The Bulldogs 13, the Red Raiders 7. We'll be back with halftime activities following these messages. Back now, getting ready for third quarter action at Glassboro High School in this Thanksgiving Day game. The Bulldogs on top 13-7, but Paulsboro getting their act together as the second quarter wound down, picking up the touchdown and looking like a much better football team than they showed in the early moments of today's football game.
Well, we always talk about momentum, and we'll see now whether the momentum that Paulsboro had at the end of the first half carries into the second half, because certainly Glassboro had all of the momentum in the first quarter and a half of the football game. 13-7, Glassboro on top. This is a warm-up for the Group 1 championship game on December 6th, right back here at Glassboro High School.
Well, you can be sure that John Avini for Glassboro and Tom Brown for Paulsboro did a lot of talking during this halftime, making some adjustments. Paulsboro made some on the field, obviously, in the second quarter. Might be that they really were just getting attuned to the play calling and running of John Petrus, who's getting the start today and going to go all the way in place of Bob Miller, the outstanding quarterback for Paulsboro, was injured in the playoff game at Point Pleasant Beach, unable to go today. And it looks like Glassboro going to have an outstanding second half as Steve Beebe gets ready to kick to Hampton and Anderson standing deep down around the 10-yard line.
Well, we keep looking for Willie Anderson to break something this season. We've watched Paulsboro several times. He's an exciting sophomore.
Beebe will kick it long. It'll go to Anderson at the 15. Bounces up. He gets the ball now and looks to try and come back across the field and finds an opening on the left side. Now breaks out across the middle. It's Anderson, and he's still on his feet. He's got speed. McCann is the only man that's able to get him. But you called that one, Bob. All year long, we've watched that youngster just mature and come along. And Anderson is going to be an exciting player for Paulsboro for a long time. Starts the first half in exciting fashion for Paulsboro.
We've been hearing about him in these junior varsity games this season. We haven't been able to see him play in any of the JV games, but I understand he absolutely tore up the Colonial Conference JV League this season with runs like that.
Okay, Petrus again, number 7 is a quarterback. Brian Dickens, Zach Worthy are open backs behind him. Worthy wants the middle of the line, but Bill Chiappi shuts the door, says no way, and takes him down. He'll get maybe a yard if he picks up that. All right, let's take a look at the opening kickoff of the second half again, and let's see how Anderson does this run back. Beebe had a pretty decent kick. It tailed off to the outside, and he had trouble with it. Bob?
Just great athletic ability here, Mike. Some fine blocking. He's really doing most of this on his own with great cuts. That's simply outstanding athletic ability to be able to do that.
As we get back now to live action, Hampton getting a chance in the backfield, gets the carry, and he picks up a couple of more yards. Paulsboro will have a third down, 5 yards to go for a first down. The ball at the Glassboro 34-yard line.
Well, we talked about momentum, and it may very well still be with Paulsboro. Glassboro could be well in front in this football game, but Paulsboro now with a chance to drive down and perhaps go ahead early in this third period.
Camel splits out to the near side. Sean Hartman to the far side. Petrus wants to throw. He's looking for Adolphus Scott, and Adolphus Scott makes the catch, keeps the feet in bounds. There's a super play made by Adolphus Scott. Great concentration, knew right where he was, and he gets the first down for Paulsboro. Now over the 25-yard line, mark it at the 23.
Oh, that was an NFL reception there. Not a hard ball to catch as far as that goes. It was right on target and Scott wide open, but his ability, as you mentioned, to keep his feet in bounds, certainly the sign of a good athlete. Adolphus Scott has had a tremendous two-way season for the Raiders this season.
Just turning into a super football game here in the early going of the third quarter. Hampton and Dick. Dick on the quick opener finds a big hole, and he struggles forward, finally stopped after a gain of 3 or 4 yards. It'll be second down, and let's give him 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 for Paulsboro. That left side of the line that time, Bob, just opened a monstrous hole. Paulson doing some great blocking over on that side, and Buddy Frank was moved right out of the way. Payne was moved away, and linebackers had to come in and finally make the stop. Payne, Hampton twists and turns and tries to get up enough for the first down. He's going to be stopped out at around the 13-yard line. And Tom Bowe says first down. No measurement needed here. So Paulsboro have a 1st and 10, and they continue to move.
Good run that time by Hampton. Hampton had his starting job taken away by Zach Worthy, but finds himself starting in the second half and makes a key first down pickup.
13-7, Glassboro lead. 9:35 to play in the third quarter. Again, the backs are open behind Petrus. Petrus to Dick, and again the hole is there. So they're doing some super blocking over there. Paulson and Packer and Adolphus Scott, the left tight end on that side. Just opening holes for Brian Dick now, and he picks up 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Ball now at the 7-yard line.
Talking to Tom Brown, the Paulsboro coach at Touchdown Club the other night, very happy with the way the offensive line of his football team has developed this season. And Paulsboro offense didn't do a whole lot in the early part of the year, but they've really been coming on in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
All right, Payne is brought to the sideline. Chaffee goes into the middle. Andy Stewart is out at the tackle position. Hampton will get it. Stewart will come up and grab him, but Hampton falls forward, gets a couple of more yards, and he's near and maybe over the 5-yard line, and that's where they're going to mark it now, down around the 4. Third down situation, a little more than a yard, close to 2 yards to go for a first down here.
Well, you start thinking now about a couple of funny bounces in this football game, Mike. The Adolphus Scott interception of the ball that went off Brian Barrett, and then the tip ball that Brian Dick caught and took for Paulsboro. Those big plays.
And nothing doing for Brian Dick this time. Reese Peterson comes in from the linebacker position along with Mark Antolini and Buddy Frank. They close the door on the runner, and it's going to be a 4th down situation. I think Paulsboro's going to want to call a timeout and get organized. They really can't afford to give the ball up down here unless there be a Glassboro turnover following this play.
That's a good call by Tom Brown. You don't like to give away a timeout at this stage in the football game. Still 8:10 to play in the third period, but it is a critical situation. They of course will forego the field goal here. They have an excellent kicker in Gentile, but down by 6 points. 3 points would only put them in a situation where another field goal could get them a tie. So they want the touchdown and the opportunity to give Gentile the kick to go ahead 14-13.
Well, John Abini on the sidelines has talked to his defensive coordinator, McCulley, and Coach McCulley now is out into the Glassboro defensive huddle to try and straighten things out in that situation. And off the early going in the first quarter, Bob, looked like it was going to be Glassboro all the way, and that was a surprise because there haven't been that many games where people have run away with them in the Paulsboro-Glassboro series. And the way Paulsboro came roaring back in the final 5 minutes of the second quarter and the drive that they sustained here, this is just turning into an exciting football game.
And we'll see what Tom Brown calls. With Bob Miller quarterback in the early part of the season, Bob Miller likes to roll out with the ball, Mike. This is the kind of situation with a 4th and 2 where sometimes your quarterback will roll. We'll see what Tom Brown called for John Petrus.
Hartman split to the near side, Camel to the far side, but they're going to run inside. It's going to be fumbled, picked up by Brian Dick. Antolini has him. Dick throws the ball up, and it's going to be caught for a touchdown in the end zone on a busted play. Royce Hampton makes the reception, and it's a tie ball game, 13-13.
Well, you said a busted play. That was the all-time busted play. That's an incredible play. Paulsboro fans going absolutely wild over that one. That was not your textbook touchdown, but it counts, and it's 13-13. What a bizarre... We've seen some of the strangest bounces in this football game that we've seen all season long.
Well, it was so obviously designed as a pass play, Bob, the pitch-out pass, because no lineman went downfield or there would have been a penalty, and there were receivers in the end zone. But it took a couple of bounces before they got it off. Now, number 74, Jim Gentile, with the chance to put the Red Raiders on top for the first time today. 8:02 left to play in the third period. A good snap. It's down. The kick is up. It's long enough. It's high enough, and it's straight enough. And Paulsboro on top, 14-13. What a football game.
Well, I think we'll have a chance to see this design play again, Mike. Here it comes. As you can see, Petrus simply can't hang on to the ball. Dick with a great recovery, almost tackled, gets it away. The defender's right there, but Hampton comes up with it. Incredible. No way that play should work.
That one will be in all kinds of highlight films. It should be in mistake films. It's just going to be a play that's remembered by everybody in this 1980 Thanksgiving Day football game.
And John Avini imploring his troops to get back in the football game. They've seen their 13-0 lead disappear completely. They're down 14-13, and now we'll see if the Bulldogs can come back.
All right, Dubzanski to kick off for Paulsboro.
Even the sun is coming out. This is really turning it into quite a game.
Number 22, Rick McCant, Sampson, number 34, and Chris Harris, number 21, are the three deep men for Glassboro.
You sure that wasn't a design play?
There's no question it was diagrammed exactly that way. Dubzanski misses the football. It's going to come over near the sidelines and out of bounds. And Glassboro, Brian Barrett, very, very smartly lets the ball go out of bounds because that's going to put the Bulldogs in operation at their own 40-yard line. A rule that I've never liked in high school football. I've seen kickoffs, Bob, go down and roll out of bounds on the 1-yard line, and the team winds up getting it on the 40.
Yeah, it does seem rather unfair. Now, Glassboro now with Dave Young at quarterback. Glassboro cheerleaders trying to get with a little bit. We'll see if Young can bring his team back.
Peterson, Sampson, Harris, the three running backs. Harris is at a wing-back position. Young remains, of course, at quarterback. Sampson, but he's not going to get it. Paulsboro's really turned on now. Bill Mikowski comes in and makes the tackle. He just went right through the blockers on that right side and wrapped up Sampson in the backfield. And Glassboro's going to have to regroup quickly because momentum has certainly shifted to Paulsboro.
You can feel it. The Paulsboro team, which seemed very listless in the first period, they really, to me, did not seem like they had come to play this football game. But they certainly are back with it fully now.
Young faces a 2nd and 15 with 7:29 left to play in the third quarter. His team down by a point. They'll pitch it to Reese Peterson. DeSimone out there throws a good lead block. DeSimone's still blocking as Peterson fights ahead and gets back over the original line of scrimmage and out to the 44-yard line. It'll be a third down and about 6 yards to go for the first down. But those guards for Glassboro are just outstanding football players.
The blocking all season long for Glassboro has been tremendous. Peterson limping off the field, number 45, a tremendous sophomore for the Bulldogs. And Joe Spinelli taking his place.
Joe Spinelli wears number 33. The two running backs are in behind Young now are Harris and Spinelli. Sampson goes into the slot. They like to throw out of this formation. Young wants to throw it up the sideline to Sampson. Nothing doing. He's covered over there by Petrus and also coming over Willie Anderson from the free safety position. And that's the play they got out of their book after Sampson scores on that pass play against Riverside in the playoff game.
And he was wide open that one too, but the tremendous double coverage that time by Petrus and Anderson. Sampson with no chance and Young with not one of his better throws of the day. And the momentum continues for Paulsboro as Glassboro now has to punt the football away again.
Dave Young will drop back to his own 30-yard line to await Brian Barrett's snap. Anderson and Dick will be deep. They'll stand at their own 20-yard line. Not much pressure. Hampton's in there. Dubzanski, but it's going to go to Anderson. Anderson fumbles the football. Rick McCant quickly down there. No, it flies away from him. Let's see who winds up with the football. It's going to stay Paulsboro possession. So it looks like a good recovery. I think
Brian Dick came up with the football. He was right there. That was a very alert play by Brian Dick. It appeared that Glassboro was going to get it back and regain the momentum, but no. The ball bouncing Paulsboro's way.
All right, it's a 1st and 10 Red Raiders. Ball at the 24-yard line. Ed Kelly now comes into the defensive line for Glassboro. Hampton tries left tackle. Hampton looking like he's ready to run now. There's going to be a late hit. There'll be a late hit, and it'll be a penalty assessed, probably 15 yards against Glassboro from the point of the foul. Let's take a look at the replay of that last situation. Here's the punt by Young.
And Anderson thinking about that kickoff return. He wants to try to take another one back. But there was good coverage by Glassboro in this play, and probably Anderson should have fair caught the ball. As it turned out, Paulsboro escapes with it because Brian Dick right there for the fumble recovery.
All right, that's what it is. 15 yards assessed for a late hit on Glassboro. That brings the ball out to the Paulsboro 46-yard line with a 1st and 10 for the Raiders. Arlington now splits to the near side. Hartman far out to the left side. Error of the right guard. Did not have the count proper that time. Gentile, number 64, goes forward, and that'll cost Paulsboro some time and a little bit of momentum, and it'll also cost them 5 yards.
A penalty, but it's a good chance to see there, Mike, how they blast across that line of scrimmage. Gentile really over there in a hurry. He's been a fine player all season long for Paulsboro.
Jay Falkenstein now comes into the linebacker slot. He replaces Kelly, who comes to the sideline. Falkenstein wears number 57. First down, long yardage, 15 to go for the first down. It's an I formation now. Brian Dick at fullback, Hampton at tailback. Hampton falls, but it was going to be a fake anyways. Petrus wants to throw long to Sean Hartman, and he had McCant beat. Brian Barrett comes over from safety to cover, but the pass is too long. Hartman unable to run under it.
Sean Hartman playing today in place of Mark Cooper. Mark Cooper, one of the fine receivers in South Jersey, is not in the lineup today. Didn't hear whether he's injured or whatever, Mike, but key performer for the Raiders.
Well, I've been looking the sidelines for number 85 in a uniform over there since we have not seen him play, and I haven't found his number, his jersey over there, so I have a feeling that Cooper is not in uniform today. Petrus, number 7, looks at the 5-man front for Glassboro and drops the throw. He's chased by Chaffee. Throws it up into traffic over there. Falkenstein covering Adolphus Scott, and some Paulsboro people on the sideline thought there might have been interference, and there is a flag thrown out there. Falkenstein bumping into Scott. We don't know if that's going to be the call or not. Let's see. Yes, interference. I don't know if we have that. We'll be able to see it, but Jay a little anxious and bumped into Scott early. Cost them 15 yards in any event.
Well, the ball bouncing right for Paulsboro now, and all the mistakes going against Glassboro.
Interference, 15 yards, first down Paulsboro. Now on the Glassboro side of the field, it's at the Glassboro 44-yard line. Slot formation to the near side now. Hartman and Camel in the slot. It's going to be a quick hitter, though, to Hampton, and Hampton has really turned on in the second half. Bob, he didn't get much of a chance at all to run the ball in the first half, and he gets nearly another first down for Paulsboro in this situation.
No, he might be a little bit angry that he has not been playing as much offensively, and he really has had some good runs here in the second half.
All right. Let's take a look at that interference, see if we can pick up Falkenstein as he hits the man. Here's the pass. There's the bump right there, so there's no question about it. Scott is interfered with clearly by Jay Falkenstein, and that'll cost him that 15 yards, put him in good shape, and now after Hampton picks up a little more than 9 yards on it, it'll be second down and just inches to go for the first down. Excellent work being done by the crew today, Bob. Sally and Eileen on cameras.
Tremendous camera work all season long on Channel 5.
Hampton struggles forward. He doesn't get much, but the important thing is he gets the first down. He's wrapped up by number 65, Rob Tierno, getting a chance to play defense now for Glassboro. It'll be 1st and 10 Bulldogs, ball at the Glassboro 3-yard line.
Glassboro has to just do something to reverse the momentum in this football game, because since late in the first half, everything has been Paulsboro's way.
Hartman and Camel, the split men for Paulsboro, but they're going to stay inside with Brian Dick, and again on that quick hitter over the left side, they get original yardage, and then one more time, Brian Dick gets the extra yardage on second effort.
Paulsboro offensive line right now is beating Glassboro off the ball every time, opening big holes for Dick and Hampton.
All right, there's an official timeout as Brian Dick has an equipment problem over on the other side, lost his shoe, number 20. And they'll wait for him in the Paulsboro huddle. Right, this is going to give us a chance to pause for these messages. We'll be back with more action following these words. On the second down play, Hampton goes across left tackle trying for the first down. And he's got that one, and he's over the 20-yard line. Paulsboro continuing to drive now. They have the ball at the Glassboro 19-yard line, 1st and 10. 4:18 left to play in the third period. Paulsboro now with a 1-point lead, 14-13 over Glassboro.
I think it's just remarkable the job that Paulsboro coach Tom Brown and his staff have done rebuilding this offense this year. They lost most of their key personnel off last year's championship team, but they've really done well in the last part of this season.
Brian Dick tries the right side. Mark Antolini slides in from the linebacker spot, knocks him down. On the bottom of the pile, Hapcroft, who had him around the ankles. There'll be a gain of maybe a yard. Let's call it 2nd and 9. Super way to start Thanksgiving with an outstanding football game here at Glassboro High School. Hartman now comes out far to the outside. Arlington is slotted in, but they'll go in the other direction with Hampton, and Buddy Frank grabs him around the ankles. He falls forward after Buddy makes the tackle, and Hampton picks up a couple of yards. It'll be a 3rd down situation. Looks about 5 yards to go for the first down.
Great shoestring tackle that time by Frank. Would probably prevented a 5 or 6 yard pickup.
Glassboro has to tighten up here. They're the ones now who do not want to give up another touchdown. This was the situation Paulsboro faced in the second quarter, and there's a mistake by Glassboro. Looks like the middle guard, Bill Chiaffi, just jumped across and violated the neutral zone. That's going to cost them 5 yards, and it'll be very close to another Paulsboro first down. Remember when Glassboro was driving in that second period and Paulsboro had to tighten up, Bob, to keep them from getting that 3rd touchdown. That was before Paulsboro even scored. What a difference a few minutes have made in this football contest.
Yeah, but Glassboro simply can't do anything right now. Fundamentally, they just seem to have fallen apart in the last quarter plus in this football game. And on the other hand, Paulsboro totally taken charge, doing everything right.
All right, less than a yard to go for the first down. Hampton and Dick, but it's going to be Petrus going from the quarterback sneak, and he'll get the first down for Paulsboro, and it'll be 1st and goal. The ball's going to be marked around the 7 or 8 yard line.
Well, we talked in the first half about the Paulsboro defense being a tired defense because Glassboro had the ball so much in the first half. It's just been the opposite here in the third period as the Paulsboro offense has been on the field most of the time, and Glassboro looks like a tired defense right now.
Now you see number 47, the split man, moving out to the near side. That's Bill Camel. But Petrus again will keep it on the ground. They'll try that play they've been successful with, but there's not going to be much doing this time as Frank again, along with Chiaffi and Falkenstein, make the tackle on Brian Dick. He'll get a yard out of it. Oh, 2nd down and goal now. Ball edging closer and closer to the Glassboro 5 yard line. Number 40, Hampton, stays behind Petrus, and Brian Dick's alongside of him wearing number 20. They'll come down and they'll give it to Hampton, and Hampton with a quick speed nearly gets into the end zone. He's finally driven back, but his forward motion's going to take him down to the 1 or slightly inside it.
Can't say enough good things about the offensive blocking of Paulsboro right now. That front line doing a tremendous job beating Glassboro off the ball in virtually every play, and Paulsboro can put Glassboro in a lot of trouble right now by scoring and converting.
Mark Hampton, John Gentile, Bill Mikowski, John Paulson, and Ken Packer doing the blocking, along with Adolphus Scott at tight end. They'll go to that side, and it's going to be in for a touchdown. Brian Dix stands up, shows the ball to everybody around that end zone area. Paulsboro, surprisingly, after the early going, they're out on top now, 20-13 over Glassboro. 1:20 left to play in the third period. Red Raider cheerleaders love it. A chance now for Gentile to add the extra point. This will be Jim Gentile, number 74, but they're going to call a timeout and check the situation.
Second timeout they've used in this second half. That could prove to be a problem for them later in the game as Dick on the replay goes across with the third Paulsboro touchdown, again behind that tremendous blocking, and with 1:20 to go in the third. Scoreboard showing 20 for Paulsboro, 13 for Glassboro. What a turnabout, because Glassboro, of course, had led 13-0, was in total control of the football game, and Paulsboro has thoroughly dominated ever since. Interesting situation here now, Mike. Of course, Gentile, an excellent extra point man. He has won a game for Paulsboro this season with a field goal. If he converts this, it's 21-13. That's an 8-point differential, of course, and that would force Glassboro to score twice. Bill Esterlin, the defensive coordinator for Paulsboro. The middle of your screen. So if they get this one, it will force Glassboro to score 2 times to win the football game.
Gentile apparently is going to kick. At least they're setting up for it. Petrus to hold. Got the snap down, and he's got it up. He's got plenty of height, plenty of distance, and it's going to be good. So it will be Paulsboro 21, Glassboro 13.
That's a big point. Glassboro, of course, now that takes the situation away from Beebe. If Glassboro comes back and scores, they're obviously not going to kick the extra point. If the Bulldogs counter that touchdown and score, they have to go for the 2-point conversion to tie, but a long way to go in this football game. Still 1:20 to go in the third, and Mike, we're seeing a lot more offense than I thought we'd see today. These are 2 proven defenses, particularly Paulsboro's. Paulsboro's with the 5 shutouts on the season, and Glassboro ran through them rather easily in the first half. We have 5 touchdowns in this game, and I really would not have guessed that.
Sampson will stand deep to await the kickoff of Bob Dobzanski, number 41 for Paulsboro. He'll be joined alongside of Sampson will be McCant and Harris. Glassboro now has to regroup and show some kind of offensive momentum. It'll be taken by Harris at the 15-yard line. Harris wants room in the middle. He gets some, and he's out close to the 35-yard line. He's taken out down there by Gentile, Hampton, and Arlington. Hampton just a whirlwind today, all over the football field.
Oh, what speed for a big man. He's always down there under those kickoffs. He's a big man, about a 200-pounder. But great speed, and plays 48 minutes for these Red Raiders.
Gentile, Hampton, Dobzanski, Mikowski on the defensive line for Glassboro. Tortella is at the left defensive end. Talbot in motion for Glassboro. Gets the call. Glenn Williams throws the lead block, and he's wrapped up as the corner comes up. Number 9, Willie Anderson, to make the tackle. And guess who's over there with him?
Mark Hampton, number 75. We didn't see the Point Pleasant Beach game, Paulsboro's 20-0 win in the first round, but I understand that Mark Hampton was a buzzsaw in that football game. Was all over the place. We mentioned before the 7 quarterback sacks he alone made in that game. Mark Hampton, number 75.
Young brings Talbot in motion again. This time on a cross buck to Sampson, and John Paulson, Adolphus Scott, and Dobzanski close the door on him in the middle, and he'll get a yard out of it somehow, and the ball will go out to the 40-yard line, but it'll be a 3rd down and a little less than 5 yards to go for the Glassboro first down. That's going to wind the time off the clock. It'll end 3 quarters of play, and what's turned into an exciting football game just as anticipated. At the end of 3 quarters of play, Paulsboro's on top over Glassboro, 21-13. Let's pause now for these words. Mike Lindner with Bob Shryock for Channel 5. Hope you're enjoying Thanksgiving Day and enjoying watching this outstanding football game between Paulsboro and Glassboro. Paulsboro on top 21-13 as we start the fourth and final period. It'll be a Glassboro third down, a little less than 5 yards to go. Ball marked at the Glassboro 40-yard line. Young has Sampson and Reese Peterson in as running backs. Pete Talbot at the wingback position. Young, though, wants to throw. Has time, looks into the flat, wants Walt Peterson, but Petrus comes across his back, knocks the ball away, and Petrus loves that play, and that's a sign of the enthusiasm that Paulsboro's picked up after around the 5-minute remaining mark in the first half.
That was a fine play by Petrus. He went high to bat that ball away. Some of the Glassboro fans thought it should be interference, but it looked like a clean play to me all the way, Mike.
Well, there was some question maybe about his left hand that was on Peterson's belt, but not enough to call an interference over. I don't think he impeded Peterson at all. Now it's a fourth down, punting situation. Dave Young to punt for Glassboro, and Brian Dick drops back as a lone safety for Paulsboro at the Paulsboro 25-yard line, and maybe they're going to come and try and block this one. Something they saw in the first half. Adolphus Scott wants to come. Oh, it's a bad snap. Brian Barrett, trouble with it. Young gets it off. It takes a good Glassboro bounce. And what a heady play by Dave Young. How he got rid of that ball, I'll never know. It'll roll down into Paulsboro's 43-yard line. They'll have it 1st and 10 there, but Dave Young has to be credited right there with a super play.
That's a miraculous play by Young. He was lucky to get one away in the first half, showing his great athletic ability. There's Dave Young, number 12, but this time incredible that he got it away. I don't know whether the snapper on that play felt the rush coming, Mike, but that ball was centered 3 or 4 feet over Young's head, and he was so fortunate to get it away and really came off with a pretty good kick.
Okay, Petrus now. We'll have Hampton and Dick still in the backfield. Hampton follows Brian Dick's block off left tackle, gets a couple of yards. Here's the play again. Watch the bad snap, but you can see 10 of Paulsboro's players coming.
More than 3 or 4 feet over his head. 4 of them right in on him, but Young gets it away, showing his fine athletic ability. That was a heady play.
Back now, 2nd down and 6 for Paulsboro. Arlington comes to the near side as a flanker. Sean Hartman splits out to the far side. Open backs behind. There's movement, but they get away with it as they, on the reverse pivot, Petrus gives it to Brian Dick, who crosses the midfield stripe and gets to the Glassboro 49-yard line.
We've talked about this Paulsboro offense today, how much it's improved over the season, but I think you have to give John Petrus some credit today. He has not seen a lot of action at quarterback this season. Bob Miller's had a fine year. Petrus has been the number 2 guy. This is an indication of the versatility and depth of this Paulsboro team, that a John Petrus can come in and do the job he's done.
Dick again now over the 45-yard line. Taken down by Reese Peterson.
Paulsboro with another first down. Their offense really in gear.
First down, ball over the 45, mark it close to the 44-yard line. Hampton with a marker thrown late. We'll wait and see what that penalty is, but Hampton struggles forward, gets a couple of more yards. Antolini along with a Giaffi and DeCimini from Glassboro to make the tackle. Tom Bowe huddling now with the Glassboro captain, Sampson. And they'll mark it off against Paulsboro.
So the mistake goes against the Raiders this time. Glassboro has been making most of the mistakes.
So they'll move it back now on the Paulsboro side of the field. It'll be at the Paulsboro 46-yard line. First down, long yardage to go now for it'll be a little more than 20 yards. That penalty assessed from the point of the foul. See if Petrus goes to the air. And now he'll go with the draw to Hampton, but Glassboro a little too smart for that one. And Bill Chaffee makes the tackle. And Joe Kelly number 70 now. Ed Kelly wears 54. Joe Kelly, number 70, in on the tackle also.
Now that's what Glassboro needs, a couple of big defensive plays. Their defense has been very ineffective since the first period, and they need a couple of big plays to get the offense back on the field.
Check that number 70, of course, is Todd Payne as he comes off the field. Second down now, still long, close to 20 yards as Petrus drops deep to throw. Hapcross in on him. He's gone downfield for Hartman. Sampson has it. He keeps his balance to the 40, to the 50. Jack Sampson out to the 50 with a outstanding interception, but more importantly, a good run back after he nearly falls to the ground and just maintains his balance, puts out the right hand. And the fans at Glassboro love this one. They know they've got to get back on the board quickly, and if they don't get the two-point conversion to tie, if they do score, they're going to have to get another one.
Shouldn't surprise anybody at all that Jack Sampson should do that. He's been a big player his whole career for Glassboro. Watching this one again. And watch how he keeps his balance on this play. Should have gone down, holds his balance, gets back up, and makes a nice return out of it. Jack Sampson, a tremendous player for Glassboro High School.
All right, live action again. McCant takes the fake. There's Mark Hampton in on Young quickly, and no chance for Young to get the pass off as Hampton coming through from the right side, and he's got to be one of the stars of the day, and he's got to be in the running. There's a big trophy ceremony after this game, Bob. Traditional mayor's trophy, which is given out, and Hampton has to be looked upon as one of the players, one of many who are in the competition for that right now.
That's right. They pick a lineman and back of this game, and Hampton showing that great speed again. He's a fine football player.
All right, a slot formation now. Kevin Walker is the split end. Pete Talbot is in the slot formation. The backs are strong to that side. A fake to Sampson. Now Young has time. He's chased by Hampton again, and Tortella and Hampton make the tackle. Mikowski also in there giving pressure for Paulsboro, and Young unable to get the pass off one more time, and they just keep moving backwards. So
they're not handling Hampton at all. He's totally taking over. This is apparently what he did against Point Pleasant Beach. He totally took charge of the quarterback in the second half of the Group 1 semifinal game, and he's been all over the place here.
Well, they were trying BB on him that time, and Andy Stewart now comes back into the game at left tackle, and he'll go head-to-head against Hampton, and let's see if Stewart has any more success. Third down and real long yardage to go now for Glassboro, and Young will try and get it through the air. Going to go long to Talbot. He's out there open and unable to get the ball. Pete Talbot had his man Anderson beaten clearly by 10 yards. Had to hold up temporarily for the pass, and that's a ball that should have been caught. Talbot falling away from it. Would have had the first down. I think he would have. That's all he would have gotten, because I think he was going to go to the ground.
Well, he was just turned around the wrong way. Just got twisted around and couldn't handle it, but it was a well-thrown ball and should have been caught.
Well, they'll bring the special teams in now. We'll see a punting formation with Young as the punter for Glassboro. Here's the play. We'll see how clear Talbot was on this pass from Young. Nobody out there with him at all. I know he just held up, and maybe if he had kept going, Bobby would have had that pass. Brian Dick again, the only deep man, so maybe Paulsboro is going to come after Young again. There's the snap. He gets this one off under a good rush. Brian Dick signals fair catch and takes it at the Paulsboro 32-yard line.
The clock becoming a factor now. 6:59 to play. Paulsboro with the ball in the lead, and a good drive here that would consume 2 or 3 first downs would eat up a lot of that clock and perhaps prevent Glassboro from coming back to tie. So Paulsboro in charge right now, as they have been since those 2 touchdown passes by Dave Young gave Glassboro the 13-0 lead in the first period. There's John Avini looking very much concerned, Glassboro head coach.
We said before the game that this would be round 1 of 2-round contest, but it would not be a preliminary, no question about it. This has been a main event all the way, super football game. Hampton, DeSimone wraps him up, gets a lot of help from Chaffee and Andy Stewart and Buddy Frank for Glassboro, but Hampton gets a yard out of it. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Most important defensive series of the game right here for Glassboro. They do not want to give Paulsboro that 1 first down to keep the drive going. They want to force the punt and give the offense plenty of time. Tom Brown, the Paulsboro head coach. His assistant Joe Hershaft on his right.
And if I'm not incorrect, I think Hershaft is a resident of Glassboro. Pitch out now to Brian Dick. Look at Mark Antolini. Held him up until Reese Peterson comes over and cleans up. So the Glassboro players know the situation, Bob. They understand it's coming up on the 6-minute mark, and they know they've got to stop Paulsboro here and force a punt and get that ball back and let Young go to work in the air and wind up Jack Sampson, let him get some yardage. They've got to get a touchdown.
Antolini has been pretty much neutralized in this game. We haven't called his number too often, number 64, but he was right there in that tackle. He's been a big play guy all season long for the Bulldogs, too. Went head-to-head with Dick, and he won that confrontation.
3rd down now. 5 yards to go for the first down. 5:41 on the clock. Open backfield behind Petrus. Now Hampton will come in motion out of that, and there's going to be a penalty flag. Let's see if it's a delay. Delay of the game called by Tom Bowe. They took too long on that one. It'll stop the clock. It'll cost Paulsboro 5 yards. It'll move it back, and it'll be a 3rd down, and let's call it 10 yards now. A little more than 10 to go for the first down.
They changed the play here, too. That could have been a running play. Now with 3rd and 10, Paulsboro doesn't want to throw the football in this situation. They don't want to risk an interception. It would give Glassboro a good field position, but they may be forced to put the ball in the air.
Well, Sampson is back in again now at safety. He does not play all the way at safety. Of course, was in on the important interception last time Paulsboro had the ball. Let's see what he can do in this situation. Petrus wants to throw, and Hartman leaps through the air. Sean Hartman, number 82, looking for the catch. He's covered by Peterson and Antolini. And Hartman, as he gets up, looks at the Glassboro sideline and walks away, has some words for the players over there. It'll be incomplete. Stop the clock. Glassboro's going to get the ball back.
Glassboro fortunate there because Rick McCant fell down trying to cover Hartman on that play. The ball simply not thrown well enough for Hartman to catch it. Glassboro achieved precisely what it was trying to, forcing Paulsboro to punt, and the Glassboro offense should have plenty of time.
Dobzhansky will punt for Paulsboro from his own 18-yard line, but there's going to be a problem. Brian Dick counts, and let's see, maybe they don't have enough players out there, and Paulsboro forced to call another timeout, and that could really become critical. And while we wait for them to get organized, it'll give us a chance to pause for these words from the important people who've been bringing you today's game. All right, we're back now. Time is in. Dobzhansky, number 41, stands deep to punt for Paulsboro. Gets a good snap, no pressure, and he has the ball up in the air. A lot of hang time. McCant decides against picking it up. It'll hit one of the Paulsboro players, and it'll be down right there as the ball bounces off of Sean Hartman. Glassboro's going to have the ball in good field position. They'll have it at their own 41-yard line. They'll have 5 minutes and 17 seconds in which to get the ball down the field. And the Glassboro fans now understand the importance, and a lot of them coming to their feet as they try to get their Bulldogs moving.
Well, there won't be too many more chances. They're going to have to capitalize on this opportunity, counting down near the 5-minute mark.
All right, Talbot, the wingback. Brian Barrett, the split end. Barrett's to the left side. Talbot to the right. He comes in motion. Double fake. Tortella's in on him quickly, but they'll go to Peterson. Young's pass will be complete. He doesn't get the out of bounds. Won't stop the clock. Tackle made by John Petrus again, who's been super on offense and doing an outstanding job defensively also in the backfield. And it's hard to tell that you can't really call him a substitute the way he's playing for injured Bob Miller today.
He's a fine athlete, great baseball player, and he certainly has done the job. It's tough to have your quarterback play all the way on defense like Petrus is doing, but he's been very proficient both ways today.
All right, Walker at the bottom of your screen, number 42. Sampson split to the top of your screen, number 34. Young fakes to Peterson, takes the first down with Walker. Walker does not get out of bounds. He steps back to the inside, gets a couple of more yards, and gets a little more excited, as you can see. He'll have the ball at the Paulsboro 44-yard line, 1st and 10 Glassboro. 4 minutes and 12 seconds, and they'll start the clock running as soon as the chains are set on the far side.
Well, this is an exciting passing offense for Glassboro. You know, we've talked all season long about the running ability of Sampson, Harris, McCann, Peterson, but again, Young with those 9 touchdown passes on the year, including both Glassboro touchdowns today in the air.
All right, Dave Young looked to the sideline that time as if he wanted help, and we'll wait and see. Maybe he called this play himself. Hapcroft and Peterson, Walt Peterson at the tight ends. They'll pitch to Reese Peterson, blocking out in front, and Dobzhansky quickly over to make the stop, and Peterson will be held to maybe 2.5 yards. Call it 2nd down and 8.
Impressed with the quickness of these big Paulsboro linemen. Dobzhansky, the 235-pounder, showing great lateral movement on that play to go over there and stop that run.
All right, Brian Barrett, number 41, brings the play to Young. Clock continuing the run now, coming up on the 3-minute, 25-second mark. Five-man front for Paulsboro. 2 interior linebackers. Young fakes. He's going to throw it up to Brian Barrett, but it's a poorly thrown pass, well covered over on the far side by Royce Hampton, and Barrett unable to get to the pass, and the only thing that'll do is stop the clock.
What killed that play was a great pass rush by John Gentile and Mark Hampton. They were in very quickly on Young and forced him to throw a bad pass, and he doesn't throw very many bad passes.
All right, Young now looks to the sideline. He'll wait the play. Beebe, number 58, will bring it in along with Kevin Walker, number 42. Stewart, 77, comes to the sideline. This is a big play for Glassboro. At this point now in the second half, it becomes the biggest play of the half, maybe the biggest play of the ball game. They've got to get a first down. Young to throw. Comes across to Kevin Walker. Walker has it. First down territory. Fumbles the football. Let's see if Walt Peterson comes up with it. What a play by Walt Peterson if he gets that fumble.
Tremendous play by Peterson.
Peterson, the all-around football player for John Avini. Avini thinks he can play anywhere for him, and he's had him all over the place all season long. And a saving fumble recovery by Walt Peterson. 1st and 10 Glassboro. The ball at the Paulsboro 28-yard line.
Walker really got popped in the play, as we'll see on this replay. Another good throw by Young and a good catch by Walker, but he really gets popped here. Ball goes loose, but look at the play Peterson makes diving under that ball.
All right, live action again. Sampson. Look at the blocking in front of him. DeCimini just cleans out. Reese Peterson and Joe DeCimini doing a super job blocking for Sampson. He's got another Glassboro first down. The ball's at the 15-yard line. The clock will keep running. It's stopped at 2:37 to move the chains.
We're seeing a great finish to a great football game. One of the best we've seen all season long, if not the best. John Avini on the sideline.
Walker is still in at a split end position, but they'll go with Sampson, the bread and butter runner. He's got one man to beat. It's going to be number 9. It tries to stop him. Does he fall in? No, he's going to be short by around a half a foot. Sampson did a lot of it on his own after some great blocking out in front of him. He just plowed into Willie Anderson, and they had to have help come over to make the stop on him. It's going to be a Glassboro first down, less than a yard to go for the touchdown.
When you're in trouble, you give the ball to Jack Sampson. 2 times in a row, they kind of spot him offensively and defensively. He's so valuable, they don't want him to get too tired.
Here's the play.
Look at this run by Sampson. Great blocking again, but look at these moves by Jack Sampson. And he almost carries 2 tacklers into the end zone.
Well, if it wasn't for Hampton coming up from the backside, he would have never been stopped. Here's Young with Sampson and Reese Peterson behind him. Talbot at the wingback position. Young wants to try it himself. According to the linesman, apparently he doesn't make it. There's still plenty of time, of course. 1 minute and 50 seconds showing on the clock right now. Young got it closer. He did not get the touchdown. The point of the ball just short of the goal line right now. Kevin Walker will bring it in as the clock continues to run. Remember, they're going to be down and going to require the 2-point play for a tie.
That's right. 1:28 to go.
They've got to get it in first. Let's see if Young takes it again. He will. He'll go across left guard this time. The linesman says he did not get the ball in.
Avini wants a timeout quickly. With 1:13 to go.
Well, he'll want the timeout, of course, Bob, for a couple of reasons. First, he's going to want the timeout to make sure that they don't hurry themselves in the huddle and get too excited as Esterlin now runs in for Paulsboro, the defensive coordinator, to calm them down. But Avini wants his team calm. He wants them collected. He wants to make sure the right play is there. And beyond that, if they do get the touchdown and don't tie the game up, they're going to want some time back to possibly get the ball and go in again.
That's right, and of course Esterlin in the huddle for Paulsboro now. He's talking also. That's John Avini entering his team's huddle, but Bill Esterlin in the Paulsboro huddle is saying, okay, now they're at the 1-yard line. Let's try to figure out how to keep them out of the end zone. But if they do score, they've got to go for the 2-point conversion, and they're going to be talking, too, about how they're going to defend that 2-point conversion try that Glassboro has to try. So they're talking about not only the goal line stand here, but the 2-point conversion try if they do score.
Well, there's been some exciting close games in this series, of course. The last close one in 1978, and in that game, Glassboro won 7-6 over Paulsboro. The year before, only 27-24. But we're back now to action and ready to go. Third down, less than a yard. Looks like 6 inches from up here in the booth. Young, Peterson, Sampson, that's the backfield. They'll give it to Sampson. He'll just dive right in. He's got the touchdown. But now we come up to the most important game of the year. 1980 football season comes down to this. 1-1-1, a minute and 11 on the clock, 21-20. What will Avini do, Bob?
It's 21-19, so he's got to go for the two-pointer.
We had the wrong score up. Sorry about that. As we see the...
And Sampson simply dives underneath the would-be tacklers. 21-19, 1:11 to go. Glassboro must go for the two-point conversion. Biggest play of the season so far for Glassboro right here. And John Avini wants to talk about it again. So Glassboro using another one of its timeouts. And, of course, all kind of things can happen here. If Glassboro fails to get it, they're obviously going to be trying an onside kickoff to try to get the ball back. And they may even do that if they do get the two-point conversion. Well, this is really an exciting finish to probably the best game we've seen all season long.
All right, of course, they'll have 3 yards to go for the 2 points. Young have Peterson at fullback behind him. Sampson in the left halfback position. Pete Calvert will be the wingback on the right side. Brian Barrett will be the split end on the left side. Big play here. Sampson, a lot of blocking in front of him. He's not going to make it. Bob Dobzhansky, number 41, makes the saving tackle for Paulsboro. The Red Raiders hold. The score remains Paulsboro 21, Glassboro 19.
Well, that's the biggest play of the season by Dobzhansky. Very quickly over there, and that's got to be the play. You got to go with Sampson on that play. You pitch it back. You let the blockers get out in front of him. You figure your bread and butter guy is going to get in. But a great defensive play by Dobzhansky. Sampson does not get in, and 21-19. Now Glassboro has to go for the onside kick.
Well, we'll take a look at that extra point play again.
I think the correct call in this situation, Mike. You
gotta go to your bread and butter.
Got to go to the big guy, and Sampson's been the big guy for 3 seasons, blocking out in front of him. But look at the play Dobzhansky makes.
Dobzhansky comes from behind all that blocking. Both guards were out in front. Reese Peterson was out in front, and had Dobzhansky not grabbed him from the rear, he would have gone in easily. We would have had a tie ball game, and we've got to think onside kick in this situation.
Has to be, because Glassboro only has 1 timeout left. I don't believe Paulsboro has any. Glassboro, no chance to get the football back unless they recover the onside kick, unless, of course, Paulsboro fumbles the ball away, and Paulsboro will just sit on it.
All right, you've taken a look at both head coaches, John Avini and now Tom Brown, and the gray slacks on the other side, waving to his team, trying to get them to move up and be ready for that onside kick, and they bring some backs up tight. Zach Worthy and Brian Dick will be right behind the front 5 linemen for Paulsboro. Now Dobzhansky comes up, Adolpha Scott comes up, and they'll leave Anderson and Hampton deep. But it'll be up to Beebe here. Let's see what he does.
Everybody looking for the onside kick.
They're going to shift all the players to the left side and expect to see the kick go in that direction now. Now here it comes. There's the ball. It's kicked over, and let's see who covers it. Paulsboro's got the ball with no problem, and we'll wait and see what number. It's going to be Gentile, number 64. John Gentile covers the ball for Paulsboro. They'll have it at their own 49-yard line. 1:08 to run off of the clock.
Well, Glassboro, I believe, only has 1 timeout left, and that means that Paulsboro pretty much can sit on the football, just fall on it. That's what you normally do in this situation. The clock running, counting down to 1 minute. Glassboro with a little hope now of getting the ball back.
Petrus with 2 running backs behind him in a split position. He fumbles the ball. Let's see who got it. It looks from the Paulsboro players that the Raiders got it, but right there at midfield. The one thing you do not want to happen offensively, of course, is a bad snap or exchange between your quarterback and center, and Petrus does well to get on the football himself.
Well, you think back to the Eagle-Giant game of a couple years ago when Joe Pisarcik lost the ball game for the Giants in the last second.
And Petrus keeps it again, sneaks forward for a yard or two. The clock continuing to run. It's under 30 seconds now, and Glassboro stops it with 28 seconds to go. And a tremendous series, the last Thanksgiving Day game as far as Thanksgiving Day rivalries between Paulsboro and Glassboro. And there have been a lot of close ones, as we said, over the years. 1978, 7-6. How far? 3 points separating them in 77, and back to the big game of 74 that we talked about earlier. 14-12 Paulsboro victory in that one. But this has just been a great one, and this 58th meeting between the two teams, no different. It's the fans have gotten their money's worth today, and of course on Thanksgiving Day there's always, more frequently than not, there is one school that goes home happier and enjoys their turkey a little more than the other. In fact, in this series, the 57 games played so far, not that many ties.
Only 5 ties. The last one in 1965, 6-6. Of course, this is only a tune-up. We're going to see these two teams again. This has been an exceptional football game, and the nice thing is we have to look forward to them playing again on December 6th for the Group 1 championship. And if they can duplicate to any degree that effort, the effort that they've had today, we're in for another treat on December 6th.
And wouldn't it be great if we had this size a crowd and even more that come out for that football game? We'll, of course, have that game for you right here on Channel 5. And Pietrus will be wrapped up by DeSimone, and that'll blow the ball dead. And that'll stop things as the time stops at 22 seconds now on the scoreboard clock. And there's another timeout called. Oh, an offsides penalty, apparently. See how it works.
Offside penalty against Glassboro.
It is coming over now to the sideline. Gianavini will talk with Tom Bowe, the referee, and they're going to talk maybe about the time situation.
And there is a problem with the clock. Tom Bowe, the referee, coming off the field to talk to the timer.
And I think Gianavini felt that he lost 3 seconds on that play. I saw him holding up the 3 fingers. And every second, of course, important here at the end of the ball game.
John, right on top of things. Every second counts, of course. And we see Mayor Bill Dalton of Glassboro down on in front of the Glassboro bench now. He'll be presenting the Mayor's Trophy today after this game. As we mentioned, the lineman and back of the game will be honored. Tough choices for the judges today. There's Bill Dalton. John Bogening of the Courier-Post, assistant sports editor. The gentleman with the sunglasses on to the right of the screen. Harry Armstrong of the Gloucester County Times. Ted Hayter of the Philadelphia Bulletin covering this game. They'll all help make the selections. And I believe even Mike Lindner and Bob Shryock will have a chance to participate in this selection process.
And walking off to the left side of the screen then, gentlemen, we want to thank Bob, who's done a super job for us every time we've gotten together with the Glassboro
Chuck Mangini, what a job he's done. He does absolutely the best job on statistics of anybody who does high school statistics in South Jersey, and he's been supplying us with up-to-date stats all season long. Just does an outstanding job.
Thank you, Chuck. Third down now. The clock is running, 14 seconds. Petrus falls to the ground just beyond the midfield stripe. It'll be a 4th down situation, but the clock will keep running. Apparently, Glassboro cannot stop it. So Paulsboro has done it. They've come back after being down in the early going. It's going to be a Red Raider victory. They're on top by the final score of 21-19. We'll be back with a final word following these messages. Super football game here at Glassboro High School today on Thanksgiving. Paulsboro coming out on top 21-19. Glassboro, of course, started out with a super first quarter effort. They were ahead 13-0. Paulsboro having a very, very difficult time in the early going. They came back and scored, looking good in the last 5 minutes of the first half. Made it 13-7, Glassboro at halftime. Paulsboro coming back, taking the lead 14-13 in the third quarter. They went up by a score of 21-13, and then in the last minute of play, Glassboro gets down to 21-19, unable to convert the two-point try as Bob Dobzhansky makes a saving tackle on Sampson. Couldn't be a better way to end this Thanksgiving Day rivalry between Glassboro and Paulsboro than to have an interview with that fine gentleman, someone who's seen all 58 of the Thanksgiving Day games now between the Raiders and the Bulldogs. Once again, then, the final score, Paulsboro 21, Glassboro 19. Everybody at Channel 5, hoping you've had a very, very exciting, interesting, and enjoyable Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in. Mike Lindner for Bob Shryock. We'll be looking for you next time. It'll be a fourth down situation, but the clock will keep running. Apparently, Glassboro cannot stop it. So Paulsboro has done it. They've come back after being down in the early going. It's going to be a Red Raider victory. They're on top by the final score of 21-19.